President Trump's meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, their face-to-face meeting just wrapping up in South Korea. The world's two largest economies trying to figure out a trade deal after months of imposing tariffs on China. President Trump came into these talks hoping to end his trade war with China. Before the meeting, Trump saying the two sides had agreed to the framework of a deal. That agreement focusing on everything from tariffs to fentanyl to ending the Chinese boycott of American soybeans, which has been a major blow to some American farmers. The deal would also loosen restrictions on China's sale of rare earth minerals. They are critical for making smartphones and cars. And just moments before the meeting, Trump saying on social media he ordered the Pentagon to begin nuclear testing on an equal basis to other countries, saying that will start immediately. Let's get to our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott. She's traveling with the president. Rachel, what are you learning about any agreement here?
Well, the president walked out of this nearly 2-hour-long meeting with Chinese President Xi to announce that a trade deal has been reached. The president had threatened a 100% additional tariffs on Chinese imports, which would have raised the cost on everything from clothes to electronics. As of right now, it appears that has been averted. The president telling reporters on Air Force One that China has agreed to purchase soybeans from American farmers and crack down on fentanyl, and also loosen those restrictions on those critical rare earth minerals that you were just talking about that are key to making everything from smartphones to electronics to cars. The president in turn then dropping the tariff rate by 10% to 47 on Chinese imports. This deal, though, Perry, only lasts for 1 year.
So what Trump basically has said, and he actually talked about it on the airplane. I don't know if they're actually going to show it here. Maybe I can try to find it and give it to you guys. But a couple of the things that he said was, and this is one of the reasons that I believe that Trump actually raised the amount that he's charging on tariffs. It wasn't just to put pressure on China, but it's also to negotiate from a position of power, right? Because now you have room. First of all, you saying, hey, we're going to agree to a framework of a deal for 1 year, and then we're going to revisit it. That allows for you to see what happens, see how you impact it, see if everything changes, and then make adjustments on the fly. The second thing that it does is it gives you room to pivot. Whereas we had almost no tariffs on China prior to Trump taking office, now we are not only taking in money, but it allows us to negotiate and then be able to get some concessions. So one of the things that they did was he was able to get a concession on them. Well, that's not what I want to do. He was able to get a concession on them. Oh yeah, I gotta find it on YouTube, because fentanyl, the majority of the fentanyl that comes into the United States of America that they're using to basically keep us addicted and that they're using on this opioid crisis comes from China. And so Trump first said that he was going to lower tariffs on China to 10% from 20% effectively, based off of fentanyl. So these tariffs are being implemented depending on the certain products. Certain products he got tariffs on, others he don't. You know, some is higher than others, so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is he's going to lower it, the effective tariff on from 47 to 47%, from 57%, with the agreement that Xi Jinping will work very hard to prevent more fentanyl from coming into the United States of America, from being filtered into the United States of America. And so he's working hard to stop the flow of fentanyl. All right. Another thing that he's doing is rare earth minerals. So rare earth minerals are basically the minerals that we need to make the products that goes into all of our cars, our computers, our laptops, our phones. And so we source a lot of that out from outside of the United States of America. And so rare earth minerals were another talking point, right? Soybeans, farmers that farm soybeans had been complaining that the amount of soybeans that was being purchased from China went from 25 million metric tons annually for the last 3 years to now China is agreeing to buy from 0 up to 12 million metric tons of soybeans from the United States between now and January. So basically, what is this? October, November, December, January. So for the next 3 months, they basically agreed to buy 12 million metric tons of soybeans, right? Obviously, he also wanted to have a conversation about Ukraine. So China being a partner or working with Russia, especially when it comes to Russia selling their oil, a lot of it they sell to China. And so he's trying to broker a ending of the war between Russia and Ukraine, but it's difficult for him to be able to do that because they are still making money from partners, strategic partners like China that is buying their oil and continuing to supply Russia. All right. Obviously, we know about Taiwan and NVIDIA, in which Taiwan was a very big talking point because they are the number one chip manufacturers in the world. And so part of the reason why China wants to invade Taiwan, which we baked it in, especially back in the Biden administration, we baked in national security, homeland security. We baked in all of that when it comes to people crossing over into the border. All of that, we were giving money to Taiwan. We were giving money to Ukraine. We were giving money to Israel. And so why were we giving money to Taiwan? Most people don't even have a conversation about Taiwan. Why? Because it's not a talking point. It's not a liberal talking point. It's not a Republican talking point. It's a business talking point. And so America has a huge interest in protecting Taiwan while also standing up their own chip businesses here in the United States of America so that we don't be interdependent on other countries and then also have to deal with China, who has an interest in not only Taiwan because of where they're located, but also because of their chip capacity and their manufacturing. Obviously, we know about TikTok and plenty of other things, but the point is that there's a lot of business that needed to be talked about. And when you are the number one and the number two superpower in the world, they had an interest in trying to get a deal done.
Be critical for these two leaders to keep in contact. The president told reporters that President Xi does plan to travel to the United States at some point soon, and that the president plans to go to China in April.
Yep.
And Perry, just one last thing, because you did mention that the president did direct the Pentagon to continue nuclear testing.
You said not trusting China, sorry, but not sorry. Well, this isn't a trust situation. This is a leverage situation. It's not about trust. It's about business. I trust you to do what you're going to do based off of the business that we're doing together. If you have an interest in doing business with me and I have an interest in doing business with you, it's not about whether I should trust. That's why they keeping this deal in place for a year and then they're going to revisit it a year later. So if you know that I have something that you need and I know that you have something that I need, then it's not about trust. It's about doing good business because it's in my best interest to do so.
For the first time in decades. The president asked about this on Air Force One, said this had nothing to do with China per se, but it had to do with other countries now starting and actively pursuing their nuclear testing. And he says he believes the U.S. should move forward with that as well, Perry.
Rachel, this is the first time Trump and Xi have met in person for the first time in about 6 years now, this meeting lasting about an hour and 40 minutes. What do you make of the timing of this meeting, how long this meeting lasted?
Yeah, the president said heading into this meeting that this meeting could last for 3 to 4 hours. It was notably shorter than that, and I believe that is because the president's top advisors have been working on the sidelines of his trip here in Asia, really trying to hammer out the framework of an agreement.
Man, he got some monsters on his team. If you notice, Trump says stay surrounded with the same people. Rubio, Scott Bessent. They stay surrounded with the same people. The crew be working on stuff behind the scenes all the time.
To really avert the trade war, that additional 100% tariff that the president had threatened. And so the president was very optimistic heading into this meeting. He believed that these two leaders were going to reach a deal. Again, these are the two world's largest economies here coming in to meet to try to figure out a path forward. And the president ultimately walking out of this meeting saying that they have a deal and that they plan to sign it very soon, Perry.
Rachel Scott, thank you. Let's get now to ABC's Britt Clement. She is in Hong Kong. President Trump says he will now travel to China in April. Also, Britt, Trump saying that this meeting today on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 12. You have covered the impact of this trade war for months now. What's your reaction to these talks?
Yeah, Perry, well, a truce of sorts.
A lot of people can't even appreciate this level of deal making because they're too busy worried about the food stamps.
it may be. We've been on the ground inside factories in eastern China. We've seen firsthand recently where they are heavily diversifying production away from U.S. customers, because they haven't seen America as a reliable partner for some time. But, those I've spoken to, they say they still recognize it's an important market and want to see business with Americans return. But, as a general rule, when it comes to covering China, reading the tea leaves, you always look at what it does, not what it says. And we've also seen China produce these long-term plans with a focus on self-reliance. And
it's funny because I look at these manufacturing facilities and, people keep saying, oh man, Chinese vehicles. Do you know that people in Russia are actually revolting at the fact that Chinese vehicles over there, that they don't have any service? See if I can put it up. See if I can find it. Here it is. Y'all was setting yourself up for failure and all. Y'all didn't even know it. Let me see if I can get it up here.
Recently, Russian social media feeds have been filled with shocking clips. Angry car owners destroying their own vehicles right out on the streets. This clip shows furious owners ripping the badges off their Chinese cars, a symbolic act of rejection. In another viral video, a Russian automotive influencer with 1.8 million YouTube followers angrily criticized the lagging after-sales service of Chinese auto brands.
They have no sense or culture of maintaining their brand image. Their job is to sell us cars, not provide after-sales service.
The backlash has a simple, painful trigger. Russians who paid thousands for brand new Chinese cars are discovering they actually bought 0-kilometer used vehicles, with no official warranty and no after-sales support. What happened here? At first, it seemed like a miracle for Russian drivers. After years of sanctions, high prices, and limited choices, Chinese EVs offered sleek design and cutting-edge tech at half the price of European brands. But the dream didn't last. Buyers soon discovered that their new cars had already been registered in China. That single legal detail erased their warranties overnight. No free repairs, no recalls, no tech support. If a part failed, owners had to pay out of pocket. And parts weren't easy to find. A Russian man bought a GAK car less than a year ago, but it suddenly burst into flames while driving. The company declared that the vehicle assembled with high quality, and therefore, it will not compensate for repairs or the burns to the victim's face, legs, and buttocks, essentially telling him to go to hell. Another controversy struck when Chery, a major Chinese automaker, raised prices for its subscription services, like remote engine start and interior heating, by 250% just before winter. Worse yet, the money was automatically deducted, with no notice to owners, according to Nexta.
This is why we have to maintain our own autonomy. But if you let these liberals, these raging liberals have it, they would have us dependent on China for everything, including our own manufacturing and cars. Real talk. They don't even have no standards for service. They can raise prices and lower prices. They basically doing Russia the same way that they doing their own Chinese American citizens. Ain't no way in the world that I would let Chinese manufacturers come over here and sell cars and then be able to have a subscription model to where they can raise the prices without even giving notification. See, we're not appreciated here in the United States of America because we don't value our own. We don't support our own. We don't hold down our own. So we effectively basically kill ourselves by then making it seem like, oh man, everything is better on the other side. It's not. It's not. It's not. We need to be protecting American brands, supporting American brands. But what they'll be sitting there doing is boycotting against Tesla. Tesla just had one of the best quarters ever. Ain't that funny? Right after they know Kings and the Tesla protests. Hold on. Let me, because we're going to talk about this in Stock Club. Quarterly revenue was $28 billion. Even though they removed all of the EV incentives and they removing all of that stuff. Quarterly revenue was $28 billion. And that was supposed to be low. They did have increased operating expenses. We're going to go into that. We're going to go into that later. But the point is that if you let them tell it, then we should only be rocking out with foreign competitors and let China just come over here with size 12 shoes and kick ass and take names. Ain't no way in the world that I would let them come over here and subsidize Chinese vehicles and give it to American consumers and have them become a part of their ecosystem. Nicholas Henry says Tesla designs are trash. I absolutely disagree with you. I think that their designs are dope. I like the fact that they are more futuristic, and I'll do you one better. I actually think that Tesla, I am a huge gas vehicle lover, right? I'm a car enthusiast. I'm thinking I'm going to be in SEMA. Is anybody in here going to be at SEMA in Vegas next week? So I do think that I'm going to go to SEMA next week in Vegas. I literally just got invited, and so I'll probably pull up to SEMA next week in Vegas. They said that they're going to give me a media press pass and that I'll be able to get in there early and check it out. I don't need all of that. Yeah, I mean, give me the free pass so that I can come into the show, but I don't necessarily need all of that though. But I'll probably be at SEMA. I just found that out this morning in Vegas next week. So we're going to see about that. I got to travel to go do an interview on Saturday and whatever. So I'm definitely a huge gearhead, automotive. Just got the truck back. It'll be in the next vlog. And, just got a new Ripper-Tune code. I told you all about that, the Ripper-Tune code air intake. Got a tune, all of that stuff. But I also love the technology that comes with electric vehicles. I just think that it's good when you're talking about day-to-day driving. If I'm trying to make sure that my girl or my kid can get to and from, and they can do so at minimum costs, and you can get an electric plug or a hookup at your crib, I'm definitely getting an electric car. It saves so much money. You gonna be at SEMA, Larry Jackson? That'd be dope. I heard that Dodge is planning something big too. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there. But I think that it's great. I think that the Tesla model, all of them. I think that the Model Y, the Model X, all of them are great vehicles. And I probably would never not have a Tesla in my fleet. I got all four automakers. I got Dodge, I got Ford, I got Tesla, I got General Motors, got to keep a Chevy, all of that. They don't make the Trackhawk. I think they stopped making the Trackhawk in 2021. And so it's great, man. You literally just unplug, and then you drive. And you can get my Cybertruck, for example, get 300 miles of range. I don't think that everybody need a Cybertruck, but I like the Cybertruck. You unplug and you just go. You just ride. And then you go home and you plug up. If you got, a fast charger, take maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully charge. And you back at, I usually keep my stuff at about 85% to prevent battery degradation. And I just go from there.